we have to introduce in another formula. Now, we said, for example, if you have, let's say, you have liabilities of 10,000, you have liabilities of 10,000, and on this 10,000, you have a capital of 30,000. On this 10,000, you have a capital of 30,000. Now, for you to get your total assets, according to the formula, you will add all these together and your assets will total up to 40,000. 40,000. Now, 40,000 is your total assets. 40,000 is your total assets. But from the formula explained, remember to calculate all the liabilities and adding them to the capital, you get assets. You get assets. And we said that assets, these are all the resources that belongs to a business. They belong to a business. Now, maybe if we can go back a little, let's try to get what we call examples of resources in a business. Examples of resources in a business. And this business, the resources we are talking about are the assets. Assets are the resources belonging to a business. Assets are the resources belonging to a business, and they include all this. They include all this. So you can talk of money in hand or money you have cash. For example, we were talking of the bookkeeping formula. You have 10,000, you have 30,000. Maybe it is cash. So when you put together, that is 40,000. That one is an asset. Now, we have money in banks, money in bank accounts. This is another example of an asset. And we have said assets are resources that belongs to a business. So you have money in bank. Maybe when you do transactions, people pay you via pay bill or till, and this money is channeled into your bank account. Then another example of assets, we have properties such as buildings, machinery, furniture, crops, and livestock or motor vehicles, or goods for sale. All these things that you own as a business, we call them assets. In other words, they are the things that give you profit and not. They are the things that give you profit and not loss. Now, money other businesses owe you, we also refer to that one as assets. Now, the opposite of asset, boys and girls, is liability. And we have said liabilities, these are the debts. Liabilities, these are the debts you owe other businesses and other people. And the main examples of liabilities in a business, we have creditors. Creditors, we have said this is money owed by the business to the supplier. For example, you are running a school business. People supplied you maize, beans, vegetables, onions, tomatoes, fruits. You haven't paid them. Those bills becomes a liability, and we call that one creditors. Then we have bank loans. Maybe you took a bank to service your school machinery. Maybe you took a bank loan to buy a school bus for your school. That bank loan becomes a liability. You have to pay it. We have bank overdrafts. So these three are the basic examples of liabilities. Now, we were here looking at bookkeeping formula, and we are saying to calculate the assets, you add liabilities to capital. Then now I wanted to introduce something here that means for one to find the capital now, the capital. How do you get capital to start a certain business? Now the capital, for you to find the capital used to start a certain business, you have to calculate liabilities. You have to calculate all liabilities and subtract them from total assets. Now let's go back. Take this one keenly. Don't confuse. We are saying the bookkeeping formula, assets. Assets equals liabilities plus capital. This is the bookkeeping formula. Assets equals liabilities plus capital. This one is the bookkeeping formula. This is the bookkeeping formula. Bookkeeping formula. Assets, these are the resources that belong to the business. You get them by getting the liabilities. These are what you owe other businesses or other people, and you add capital. This is the money you have used to start or run a certain business. So assets equals liabilities plus capital. Now let's go back the reverse now. How do you get the capital you use to start and run a certain business? How do you get the capital? Now, the formula for the capital is here. To calculate the capital you used, the C you used to start and run a certain business, you have to calculate all liabilities, the L, and subtract them from the total assets. Total assets. In other words, these are the assets. These are the assets. I want you to follow keenly. Then these assets, we said that the resources that belongs to the business, they belong to the business. We want to know how much money, or rather the capital you used to start and run a certain business. So you subtract the liabilities. We have said liabilities, this is the money you owe other businesses or other people. So for you to get capital, the money you used to start and run a certain business, they see you have to subtract all liabilities from the total assets. So in other words, capital money used to start and run a certain business equals to assets assets minus liabilities. Assets minus liabilities. This is what we are talking about. That capital, the money used to start and run a certain business, equals to the assets. These are all the resources that belongs to a business. You subtract all the liabilities. Liabilities, we have said. Liabilities, we have said. Liabilities, we have said. These are the resources you owe other businesses or other people. We shall still use our original formula. I had said that we have liabilities of 10,000. So L equals to 10,000. This is liabilities. Liabilities 10,000. Then capital 30,000. Capital equals to 30,000. Now, what will be the assets? Ngare, what will be the assets? Ngare? Ngare, are you there? Unmute yourself and talk. Ngare. Ngare. Jonathan?
Yes.
What will be the assets if you have a liability of 10,000 and capital of 30,000? What will be your assets?
40,000.
40,000. How did you get that?
Liability plus capital.
Liability plus capital. Very good. Now, Jaden. Jaden?
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes.
How are you? How are you?
I'm fine.
Now you have an assets of 40,000. Assets equals 40,000.
Yes.
What will be your capital? Jaden, what will be your capital?
Assets is 40,000 and liabilities is 10,000. The capital will be 30,000.
30,000. How did you arrive at 30,000, Jaden?
I subtracted the assets from the liabilities.
No, you subtracted liabilities from the assets because you have a liability of 10,000. This is a debt, and you have an asset of 40,000. So for you to get the capital, for you to get the capital, you simply need to get assets of 40,000, then you subtract liability of 30,000, liability of 10,000, sorry, and you'll end up having a capital of 30,000. You'll end up having a capital of 30,000. So basically, that is the bookkeeping formula, and at no given point should you confuse that. You should start with the original one, that assets equals liabilities plus capital. Then from assets equals liabilities from capital, you reverse the formula and say capital, this is the money you use to start and run a certain business. You get it by having all your assets. These are the resources that belongs to your business. You subtract all the liabilities. Up to that point, Micheka, are we together? Micheka?
Yes.
Great. Now,
Yes.
Jubilant, are we on the same page? Great. Prince, are we together?
Yes.
Nice. Now, from here, I want us to look at, you had requested, still in grade 8, there is what we call scale drawing, and I will take us through the plain scale drawing. Somebody had requested we look at that. So just a minute, I revert my page. So please don't fail anything to do with the bookkeeping, record, liabilities, assets. You will have just chosen to fail because you want to. Otherwise, if you followed what we said here, I don't think if there is a room or if there is a reason as to why somebody should fail this.
Is there formula of liabilities?
Is there a
I
formula
think
for
so.
liabilities? No, you see, liabilities is part and parcel of what
think
we
so.
call assets, liabilities, and capital when it comes to bookkeeping in a business. So there is no way somebody will ask you to give the formula for liabilities unless they have asked you to calculate the liabilities belonging to a certain business. Then you'll just have to play around with this formula, the bookkeeping formula. If you have assets equals to liabilities plus capital, and we have said capital equals assets minus liabilities. So liabilities, they are simply what you owe other businesses and people. It's like a debt. So if they ask you to calculate liabilities, the debts you owe other people, you simply take your assets, you subtract your capital, you will get your liability. You just play around with this formula. Are we together? Are we together? Who had asked that
Yes.
question? Yes. Now,
Yes.
let's check on was it production unit or was it production unit. So here in production unit, somebody had requested we go through the production unit. So the production unit is here, and what we are saying is that a production unit, it is a business enterprise that uses economic resources to provide goods and services for sale with the aim of making profits. In other words, it just revolves around entrepreneurship. Remember, when we were doing entrepreneurship, we said it is the process of identifying a problem. You get the solution, and this solution is normally aimed at making a profit. Let's take, for example, you have identified people are suffering, their shoes are torn, and nobody is there to mend them. So you come up with an idea of solving the issue of torn shoes, maybe around your school, around your community. You start mending them. You see, you have solved that problem. But how did you solve it? You went ahead to get maybe a thread, a needle, so that you'll be mending the shoes at a given fee or at a small price. And that price is what you are paying yourself in terms of making a small profit. So with the business production units, normally it is a business enterprise. A production unit is a business enterprise. that uses economic resources to provide goods and services for sale, underline the word for sale, with an aim of making profit, with an aim of making profit. And we are going to get very simple examples of production units in our locality, boys and girls. Examples of production units. We have a posho mill. You see, when you go to the posho mill, you go with your maize, you go with your groundnuts, you go with your cowpeas. You want them to be graded so that you can turn them into flour. And when that is done, you pay a small amount. You pay a certain fee. Maybe per kilogram, you will be charged, let's say, 10 bob. So if you are to grind 100 kilograms, you should multiply that by 10 bob, and you will end up paying 1,000. So you see, a posho mill, it is a production unit. It is a business enterprise that has used economic resource, in this case, the maize you brought, to provide goods. And these goods, you will get flour in return. And after that, they will have made a profit because they will charge you something to grind your maize. Yeah. Let's go to another example of a business production unit example. You are going to a salon. For those who go to salons, you want to do your hair. You see, you have gone there with your bad hair, but at the end of the day, you'll come out with your hair in good state and posture. You will have paid something. You will have paid something. So that production unit, the salon, whoever started it, you see, they are using economic resources, things like natural hair or human-made hair that are available in the market, so that they can give you the services of salon. They make your hair, they knit it properly, you pay them something, and they gain profit as you get their services. Another enterprise production unit, we have the barber shop. You had a bad hair, you go to the barber shop, you do your nice, good style, you do a nice shave, you get a nice haircut, you are paid something. You pay them for the service they have rendered to you. So, in short, boys and girls, production units normally they are business enterprises that uses economic resources to provide goods and services for sale. They are selling their services. They are selling their goods with an aim of making a profit. Another example is the welding. If you go to a welding a welding shop where the welders do different metalworks, they do windows, they do doors, they do chairs, they do different designs. Whatever you want, you'll get it done. But remember, you have to pay a price, and that price is what they turn into profit. And at the end of the day, they have made the profit, you have gotten their services. Another example, we have the cyber cafe. It's also an example of a production unit. You pay, you get the services. You want to apply for a job, pay. You want to create an email, pay. You want to browse, pay. You want to play the playing station, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5, you have to pay. Some charge per minute, some charge per hour, some charge per 30 minutes, and so forth and so forth. So those are the examples of production units found in our locality. Now, remember, we have factors that determine the size of production unit. Factors that determine the size of production unit. For example, I want to start a barber shop. What should I consider? I want to start a barber shop. What should I consider? So we are here. Factors that determine the size of a production unit. Number one, we have the volume of output. I am starting a barber shop. How many people can I hold at a time when the shop is full and I'm doing shaving services? Large unit produce goods on large scale, while small units produce goods in small scale. If I have a single room, then it means at most I can hold 2 to 3 people. But if I have a large one, I can do as far as 5 to 10 people at the same time. So you should consider volume of output, volume of output, volume of output. You have a small portion mill. You cannot think of grinding a lot of maize at the same time when your portion mill is small. But in the event that it is big, then you can do more and more. So the bigger the production unit, the more the goods and services you are going to produce and give. But the smaller the production unit, the smaller volume of goods and services you are going to give and produce. Now, area covered by the premises. The premises is simply where your business is going to be located. A unit covering a large floor area is considered while a unit covering a small floor area is considered small. So it is two-way. If, for example, you are running cyber cafe services, your cyber is very big, then it is going to occupy a very large space. But if your cyber is small, be rest assured you are going to occupy a very small space, even a single room. Then we have number of workers. Maybe somebody has employed people to work for him or her in a hotel, maybe fast food services. You have been to town and the busy streets. You have seen how people serve chips, how people serve smokies, how people serve tea, mandazis, gideri. You see, when the area is big, then the number of people, of workers, is large. But when the area is small, you have few workers. So it is directly proportional. When it comes to factors to consider, for you to determine the size of your production unit, boys and girls, we are saying these factors are directly proportional. They are directly proportional. We are here, number of workers. A large unit has many workers, while a small unit has few workers. Let's take, for example, a school business. If you have many students, you will need many teachers. If you have few students, you will need few teachers. It is as simple as that. Then we have methods of production. Methods of production. Here, we are saying highly mechanized. Mechanized simply means you are using high technology, you are using improved machines. So, highly mechanized unit with capital intensive method of production are considered large, while small unit uses labor intensive methods. Let's take an example of the Coca-Cola Manufacturing Industries Limited. You see, Coca-Cola produces a variety of beverages. We have juice, we have soda, we have, you see. Now, these goods, they produce them using machines most of the time. You cannot imagine people to be filling up soda in those bottles and at the end of the day bottling them up. No, that one is done by machines. So they have highly mechanized methods of production. But let's take, for example, Mama Nyambura, who does the local detergents like soap and sells them around in the village. You see, she has to do it by herself or by the help of maybe children. So you see, for large businesses or large production units, they use highly mechanized methods of production, while small production units, they use small labor intensive methods. So it is direct. It is direct. If your production unit is big, be rest assured whatever you need must be big. Now, let's take, for example, capital invested. Capital invested as another factor to consider. Capital invested. Remember, we were looking at capital and we said capital, this is the amount of money used, saved, invested to start and run a certain business. So, how does it affect your production unit? So, capital invested, if a lot of capital, in other words, if you have invested a lot of money in a unit, then it is considered a big production unit. But in case small amount of capital is invested, then that means the unit is small. The unit is small. And then lastly, let's look at volume of sales, what you are selling. Somebody is running a boutique and a business thrift for shoes, clothes, you see. Large unit makes large amount of sales, while small units make small amounts of sales. Let's use, for example, the Wajose. Wajose. Do you know Wajose? Have you ever heard of Wajose collection? They sell clothes, all types, all varieties. They are all over. They are in Nairobi, they are in Eldoret, they are in Kisumu, they are in Nakuru. So they have large volumes of sales. Why? Because their unit is big. If you have a small unit, you will have small volumes of sales. But if your unit is big, you are going to sell big, big goods and render out large amount of services. So for you to consider the size of production unit, these are the things you should put in place, and they go hand in hand. If it is small, then whatever you're expecting is small. If it is large, whatever you expect should be large in that order. So unless somebody has a question, tomorrow we shall be handling factors to consider when locating a production unit. Where do you locate your business? How do you know that this place is good, this one is not good? Jonathan, any question about production units?
No.
Great. Avril, do you have a question?
No.
Perfect. Ngare, do you have a question?
No.
Okay. So there being no questions, let me wish you a good morning. Have a blessed afternoon thereafter, and enjoy the rest of your days and the remaining lessons. Make sure to log into your Google Classrooms, check on your assignments if you didn't do. But this week we have revision materials, so use the papers for revision purposes. Otherwise, have a good morning and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Natalia Turus.
Bye.
Bye. Kimani, bye. Stacy, see you. Chanel, bye.
Bye.
Okay.